Hey there folks, how you doing? Welcome to the YouTube video here on the channel. My name is Emily. Today we're here at Newcastle Airport and I thought we'd do one last camp out for the season before the weather gets too bad and put the aircraft away for the winter basically. So in the Cessna 185 Skywagon, that's the main airport over there, that's the Aviation Academy. Someone's driving a forklift around. So let's get ready to go flying. I've checked that the parking brakes are set, so we'll eat the chocks, eat the blanks, eat the covers, ailerons, do aileron stuff, always good. I was going to say, double check the control lock's been removed, flaps intact, third stab, rudder, and then it checks both sides, tyre condition, good. There we go, and we'll get in the aircraft. So, that's you, you're dressed rather formally for this, but let's go flying. It's a really quick one. Park brake set confirmed, battery on. And where's the fuel tank selector on this thing? It's down there. Fuel selector's on the left. Trim's neutral. Don't care about flaps for now. Crank the throttle ever so slightly. Artificial horizon stabilizing itself. Alternator goes on. Radio master goes on. Didn't even prime the aircraft there, which is good. Right, everything down there, Sab. He wants us to go right to the end. I'd be happy to go for intersection takeoff, but there you go. Cool. No lock the tail wheel. Okay, the yeah, this is where I don't normally use the air traffic control system in this game. Air traffic, it's never been able, in my opinion, I've never played a flight sim game where I felt like it wasn't just incredibly formulaic and just a bit naff. Like including DCS, including X-Plane, or even the X-Plane has ATC. Wonder why he's taxing off in that direction. Oh no, they're sending us to 2.5 end, aren't they? God. Oh well. We'll drive halfway to Kielder. So here's where we're flying to today. We are heading to sort of northwest Northumberland, and there's a big lake up there, a big reservoir, sorry, man-made reservoir, called Kielder. You've got a big forest surrounding it as well. It's quite an interesting little place. But I found a fun little off-airport landing site for us to go and have a look at. We've got a Dash 8, a 7.8 and a ATR over there. I'm aware that this is a weird angle to look at the aircraft through, but frankly, it's the best I got. Be on the way up there, we'll do some actual interesting flying stuff. I'll do flaps a lump. So that's another thing. For example, in the UK, you generally will not receive, well, you won't receive landing clearance until the runway is clear. In America, be like following the landing traffic, clear to land, and that's basically it's on you to make sure that like they vacate it before you land. Kind of stilio. And I know LCA sees an Embraer. I'll give you a hint to a future airliner video, I guess I'm doing. I'm doing Southampton to, well, you'll find out. Because that's a route they did on an Embraer. Probably using a different call sign. But yeah, I was just doing a test on the Flight Sim Studio. I just want to see how I liked it, what I thought of it. Is there this 787 behind me? Oh, he's miles away. Oh, it's a 7-3. Huh. Shows how low down we are. Newcastle Airport, the fire trucks are actually that livery, which is quite fun. Oh, and that's cool. Oh, crumbs. I'll just stop behind this. Easy. Oh, he's going for the intersection. We'll stop here. This is where he's saying we're going to go. He's going to go from. I'll go from there too. Park brake set. We'll come back when something happens. So there is an aircraft that's just got missed approach. Fingers crossed. And it's got so bad too, he's just given up and he's taxiing up in the opposite direction. I don't know why I'm auto-focusing on it now, but it's quite, image-wise, quite nice. There you go, that's probably a thumbnail right there. So the EasyJet's actually just despawned, which I'm going to prove to myself here by going, so no one that way, nothing in EasyJet that way. So what we'll do is we're just going to taxi off and ignore air traffic because I'm sick of waiting. Let's go. So I've got my flaps set for takeoff. Everything else is as required, except of course just a bit of off-roading, but 100 tyres. We're designed for that. I'm going to get shouted at by the air traffic AI, but I really don't care. Let's do that. No. And now what we'll do is lock our tail wheel and hit it. I'll do. 60 knots, airborne. And we are out of there.
Cessna Charlie Alpha Charlie, ATC services terminated. Good day.
Do our turn on course. Fun fact for you, that's the metro line down there. So the Tangia Metro, everyone's favourite subterranean yo-yo. And every time there's an airfield emergency, they have to discharge the overhead wires in that area, just in case. So we'll go flapless. Dear Governor. So I'm testing the auto trimmer out and it's not really all that good. There we go, we're on our turn on course. We'll just throttle off. There we go, we'll just do a slight turn to the left and we'll fly over the lovely county of Northumberland. We are over Northumberland all the way. What is our GPS info? It doesn't actually give us an ETA here, does it? No. Right. Right, I'm just going to quickly get rid of that. I'm madly concerned by that. Assistance AI auto trim off. Ooh, that's fun. I'll keep our flight plan tab up. I'm not saying I don't trust it, I just don't trust it. You can see how far out we're going, so we're going pretty much over Carlisle. That's Carlisle there, so it's most of the way to Carlisle that we're going. But we are going to level off. I have got Orbex VFR landmarks in, I'm not sure whether that will have an impact or not. There we go. And we'll just obviously getting the revs to trim. I'm just using the RPM gauge to try and get it to about mid of the green band. Let's see where we are. So leaving sort of the controlled airspace bracket here. This is the area of the world I don't normally go to all that often, which is why I'm like spinning trying to get things to talk about here. So you're going, well, I'll say halls around here somewhere. Could be on the, under the nose, probably not. We are sort of north of Bowlam, so north of Wylam even. And we're tracking in the right direction. You can see we're sort of. You can see it's quite interesting as well how the train changes as we fly. Sorry. You know, at the moment these sort of farmers' fields. They're not. I think these are arable fields, but you know, very much green fields. And you see as we sort of go further west, we get into the sort of foothills of the Cheviots, and it goes to sort of brackeny, you know, not arable lands or wild land. So yeah, Kielder was basically one of those sort of dams where they flooded a couple of villages to make it. Kielder wiki. So Kielder Dam. So Kielder itself is a small village, and it's located at the head of Kielder Water and in the northwest of Kielder Forest. The village is within 3 miles of the Scottish border, so pretty much going right up to Scotland. Kielder is thought of taken its name from Cumbric language, comprising words of both Welsh forms of hard and so cald, hard, and dwarf water. The name must originally have denoted a river, one of southern Britain called the River Calder. I believe this is Bolam that we're approaching. Just trying to clamp a bit. Actually, I think this is Bolam here, yeah. I lost a football in here when I was little, and it made me very sad. I don't know who thinks it, me a footballing type. I still think of it to this day. Yeah, I think that is it actually, yeah. Kielder Water is a large man-made reservoir in Northumberland in northeast England. Good, that's where we're going. It's the largest artificial lake in the UK by capacity of water, second largest by area, and it's surrounded by Kielder Forest, one of the biggest man-made woodlands in Europe. The scheme was planned in the late 60s to satisfy an expected rise in demand of water to support a booming UK industrial economy. But the decline of traditional heavy industry, together with more efficient water industrial processes and better control of water supply leakage, served to undermine the original justification for the reservoir, and the government-funded project has been criticised as a white elephant. Kielder Water is owned by Northumbrian Water and holds 200 gigalitres, 44 billion imperial gallons, making it the largest artificial reservoir in the UK by capacity. Rutland Water is the largest by surface area. It has a 27.5-mile shoreline. It's 24.6 miles from the sea and has a maximum depth of 52 metres. That's actually very deep. The name Kielder was first recorded in 1939 as Kielder, originating as a river name. Kielder may have also been, yeah, that's as discussed. Construction. As a scheme was approved by Parliament in 1974, work to begin build the reservoir on the dam at the hamlet of Yarrow in the Kielder Valley began in 1975. The reservoir and dam were designed for Northumbrian Water by consulting civil engineers Baptist Shaw and Morton. Sir Frederick Gibbard and partners were responsible for architectural aspects. So I'm just moving myself along here. So you can see how the terrain's changed here. Oh, is this? I think I know where we are here. There's a gibbet here. It's a genuinely terrifying concept. So, sorry, we're going to take a break from reservoirs and talk about gruesome medieval punishment. There you go. I can see Kielder. That's it on the nose there. I think. Basically, so if you were hanged, then that is the traditional noose around the neck, either short drop or long drop. Short drop particularly unpleasant because basically you die of strangulation and your body dies pretty horrendous. There's some pretty awful accounts out there on the internet that I've read so that you don't have to. And there's the long drop hang, which is basically So short drop is strangulation, so it's a very short drop. The long drop, you calculate how long it has to be to just break the person's neck and kill them relatively instantly, or as far as we can tell, instantly. Yeah. But then there's being hung, which is usually being hung in chains. That's called a gibbet, and that's basically you basically put in what is effectively a cage, and you suspend it inside cage, which is not big enough for you to sit down. You're sort of stuck standing forever, or for the rest of your life, and you have to die of exposure. And it's a particularly unpleasant death. There were some murders in this area, and that was the punishment the person who they think did the murders got for it. And the gibbet is still sort of there by the roadside. So yeah, it's a particularly unpleasant way to die. Unpleasant ways to die. So many unpleasant ways to die. Anyway, so going back to the construction of Kielder. Earth moving infrastructure works were a joint venture between AMEC and Balfour Beatty. The design meant the loss of numerous farms and a school. About 95 people had been resident in the area prior to its development. The former permanent way of the Border Counties Railway was also taken away through the development of the reservoir. Work was completed in 1981 and Queen Elizabeth II officially opened the project the following year. The valley took a further 2 years to fill with water completely. The reservoir's purpose is to provide compensating discharges into the Kielder transfer scheme, where water can be transferred to the North Tyne, Wear and the Tees to support abstractions of water further downstream, while maintaining minimum acceptable levels of water in the river in times of drought. There are 2 main visitor centres at Kielder Water, Leapish Waterside Park and the Tower No Visitor Centre, and other facilities at Kielder, Fellstone and Stannersburn villages. It's one of the region's major tourist venues, attracting more than 250,000 visitors a year who come to enjoy the facilities. Hydroelectric plant. It's also got England's largest hydroelectric plant, opened by Queen Elizabeth in 1982, and is owned by Northumbrian Water. In December 2005, RWE Power Renewables bought the rights to operate the plant and sell the electricity owned and generated by it, with a contract lasting until 2025. Following the takeover, the turbines were refurbished, which increased the efficiency of electric generation. Controls were also updated so that the plant can be operated from Dolgarrog in Wales. The plant generates electricity using dual turbines which produce 6 megawatts of electricity. This comes from a combination of a 5.5 megawatt Kaplan turbine, which generates electricity when the water release takes place, and a 500 kilowatt Francis turbine that generates constantly from the compensation flow of water from the reservoir into the North Tyne. This gives the reservoir an average production of 20,000 megawatt hours of power a year, a saving of 8,500 tons of carbon dioxide a year compared to fossil-based methods of generation. So we're going to now stop reading and we're going to focus on actually flying the aircraft. This is decidedly Kielder now, so don't require this anymore. Otburn is Otterburn, that's a big bombing range. So stay out the way of the Air Force. And any RT guys. We've got stuff going on down there. That's probably cleared forestry land, I'm presuming, judging by the texture. Or it's just weirdly spliced together. I don't know. And ploughed up land. So it looks like it's ploughed up, but I don't know why it's just ploughing weird little strips like that. So, because we're approaching a large dam, there is only one thing that I can suggest that we do, or demand that we do, I should say, and that is the dam busters approach. So we're not landing actually near this end of the dam, we're landing at the far end, but I do just want to do the da 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 da. And I'm doing it right the Valkyries because, as you guys have seen, or will see, I'm incapable of landing a Lancaster bomber, so I'm not allowed to use the dam busters march. Right, let's just give ourselves a bit more go-go juice. So everything's advanced to full Cuzwan approach now. We'll do a downwind and then just do the low-level arrival over the lake. Now, I was actually showing to one of my friends about the dam busters the other day, probably where this idea came from, and she was able to actually go and visit one of the dams when she was in the Air Cadets. She was saying there was just a plaque of this happened, because of course to us it's this amazing feat of airmanship, but to the Germans, it was probably a war crime, because when we sort of tell the story, it's the British. We talk about Bonds Wallace and how much of a genius he was, and we talk about we talk about the airmanship that was involved in the low level flying, and these aircraft that are totally unsuited to low level flying. And then we talk about the even dropping the bombs and how they were backspun and all that ingeniousness. But then that's where and then the aircraft that got home, and it was this massive loss of life on our side, comparatively speaking. I'm not looking at you, I'm just looking at the dam. And that's where we finish telling the story. Whereas, really, if you're the Germans, that's where the story starts. And we sort of forget to mention the many deaths that occurred, as from the floodwater, from all the sort of seas and stuff afterwards, from the loss of housing, all that kind of stuff. Imagine doing this in an aircraft the size of a Lancaster. It's madness. Bomb gun. Meow. Anyway, we should have a landing site here, so I'm going to just power off a bit and get ourselves up so that we can look over the nose. And there was one that was sort of lakeside that was going to be quite suitable. Okay, I was apparently picking a site down here. That would be one. That's what I was looking at. No, that's not appropriate. We'll go for this land over here. This looks sort of smoothish. We'll do a low approach to inspect it. This is doable. It's uphill, but it's doable. So we'll do a touch and go. We'll test to land it on this one. So it's a bit bumpier than it looks. Yeah, that's very undulating. See if there's anything a bit flatter. Ah, that's what I was looking at. Right there. Not quite what's after, but we'll do flap 30, which is what we use for takeoff by accident. I think landing north, well, sort of 90 degrees to what we are now, left to right, it's going to be the landing pattern here, but we'll just drop in really low, check it out. Yeah, much smoother. There we go, full flap. I think I see the ridge line I'm aiming for here. We'll land uphill because then We take off down, don't we? Eek. Right. I'm not doing my best landing that, but there we go. Just spin the aircraft around to pose it a bit better. No. Park brake. Lock. Feather. Idle. We'll just go chop. Gone off, I think. There we go. You know what? I enjoyed that. That was probably a bit of a... That's a massive hill. Wow. But in all seriousness, I really enjoyed that little flight. That was a lot of fun. What we'll do is just step outside. We'll get the Campact utility out. See if it can cope with this concept. It is nearly spoopy day, but it's past spoopy day for you guys, so I'm not going to make you go through that. There you go. Lovely and warm. Got the doggo. You know, we'll get another aircraft like that. Someone's coming, joined us obviously, and then we'll just call it there. But I've really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. It's just a nice little thing we can do in the game. Okay. Oh, that would be the dream. Bring pizza up here with you. That is such a good idea. Got a little hammock. You're not getting out. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.